welcome to Moments of Mindfulness. I'm your host, Rain, and I am so excited to be with you guys again, opening up to season 4 of our show. I am so grateful for you watching and sticking with us through the pandemic and everything that has happened. We've all been through a lot together. So one of the things that I want to do with season 4 is I want to take some time to get into some healing. I also want to take some time to get into business because financial healing is just as important as physical healing. You need both money and health in order to live through the kind of world that we're in, right? But I also have a whole lot of updates for you guys. There's been so many changes since the beginning of season 3 to now. Of course, you know that I recently got married. Very excited about that. We got married February the 11th out at the college at Bayou Point. And so that was really exciting. And so the whole honeymoon, name change, all of that was a whole fiasco. Very fun, a lot of work, right? And then of course I have a new book out, which is Ancestral Rites of Passage. It's a journal to help people work through their ancestry and work through what they're learning from it. What did they pull in from it? So that happened. And of course, I have a new business. So it's a lot that's going on. I have a lot to update you guys with, and also a lot of things to add to your life, hopefully for inspiration. Because one of the things that I can honestly say over the past year is that I surrounded myself with as much inspiration as possible. I wanted to ensure that there was something that was enriching me through some of the hardest times, and of course now there's this talk of war and there's these air attacks and different things going on in another country, very alarming. And there's a lot that's going on with health. COVID is not over yet. There's a lot of things that's changed financially for a lot of people. And in that state, a lot of us are still worried. We're still stressed. We're still going through what we thought would be over with by now. Of course it's not, but we're still here, and that means there's hope. So inspiration is very important. And this season, we really want to get deep and bring in some people who are going to share some powerful things with you about how to heal your body, how to maintain your mental health, how to maintain your finances, grow them in different ways. We have a lot of different episodes that are planned for you. And I'm going to get into some of that when we get back. But first, we have to hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Be the best you at Magical Mystic in West Monroe. Shop online now with our full line of products, from body butters to fragrances to candles and much more. Shop now at magicalmystic.com. Be the best you at Magical Mystic in West Monroe. Awaken your desirability with our extensive line of body butters. Unlock your fullest potential with our endless selection of candles. Magical Mystic, West Monroe.
Welcome back to Moments of Mindfulness. I'm your host, Rain, and we are in season 4, which is very exciting. And so there are several things I want you to remember as we go forward with the show, not just this season, but moving forward, period. There are 3 areas that I focus on in my personal life and I teach others to focus on, and that's mind, body, and emotions. Now, for some people, emotions is somewhat mental, and everything is interconnected. We are interconnected beings, right? So there is some bleed through in all 3 of these areas. But mind is about clarity, how you think, and whether you trust your thought process. And then you have the whole body situation, which we're comfortable with learning about and knowing about. We've read about it. We see it all the time, every commercial, everywhere you go, right? But the body is not just the physical healing, but also another measure of wellness that gives you the energy that helps you to tap in so that you feel good as you go about your life. There's also the aspect of making sure that the way you look is pleasing to you. For a lot of people, one of the first areas where they experience depression is body image or self-awareness about body image. Maybe they're not pleased with their eyes or their nose or their weight. And so we're going to deal with some of that because that's becoming more and more of a thing with COVID being what it was and lasting as long as it was. A lot of people gained a lot of weight, right? And then, of course, there's the emotions. Emotions is a little bit different than what most people want you to deal with. I'm not here to make you feel bad because you get angry sometimes. I'm not going to be here to make you feel bad because sometimes you're unsure, because sometimes you feel sad. This is not about controlling your emotions like that and being in denial, but integrating them and understanding that they have a story to tell. So one of the things that I did for myself when I began healing myself, because I come from a really rough background and there was a lot to heal. When it came to my emotions, there was a lot of guilt and uncertainty. How do I deal with this? Should I feel like this? Should I feel that way? Should I think this way? And that's a lot of what we deal with in life is, should I? So for me, I stopped asking, should I, and ask, what do I feel? What's true for me in this moment? What's true for me mentally? What's true for me emotionally? What's true for me physically? What's true for me spiritually? And then as I dealt with the truth, I was able to rewrite the script of my life, right? And change the narrative about how I chose to deal with my emotions. So by dealing with your mind and your body and your emotions and bringing this wholeness, this wellness to it, you're able to have a better quality of life. During the pandemic, one of the things that happened to me is I began to realize that I didn't feel as good as I wanted to feel. Because, in the beginning of the pandemic, when it first happened, it's like, oh, I get to stay home, I get to rest, I get to eat, because I love food. You probably can look at me and tell, but I love food and I love experiencing new kinds of food. In fact, I watch MasterChef all the time. I was watching Triple D, diners, dives and drive-ins and all of that, because food is a passion for me. But one of the things that happened with that is I started to gain weight because I wasn't as active. I wasn't as mobile. I wasn't moving around. I wasn't exercising. So then when I finally realized that the quality of my life was being impacted by the state of my physical body, I began to try to do something about it. And that's when I realized that sometimes we can wait to a certain point where it almost feels too late because it becomes painful to get active again. It becomes painful and then the other thing is we're out of the habit. So over the last 8 months, I've surrounded myself with inspiration. People like Nashiki Chandler. We talked to her, Coach Chandler, before on the show. We're bringing her back because she is dynamic. She went from a bombshell to more of a bombshell during COVID. But we're going to definitely bring her back. But I looked at her progress and her dedication to herself. I surrounded myself with people who were teaching yoga and mindfulness on a higher level so that I could stay in alignment with what I said I wanted to do and what I said I wanted my life to feel like. For a lot of us, it's easy to fall off. It's so easy to be distracted by the bills and the children and the spouse and everything else that's going on. And before you know it, you've lost a part of yourself, the best part, the part that makes you feel good, the part that you were reserving just for yourself. And that'll be the first part that goes. So I surrounded myself with people. I surrounded myself with knowledge and information that brought me back to myself. Do you know, and this is a moment of clarity and just being blatantly honest. For a while, I was thinking about the show and I said, I don't feel good about how I look anymore, and I don't really want to do the show with myself looking like this. And I realized that I had to deal with self-esteem all over again. Sometimes, guys, it's okay to find yourself redoing some work that once upon a time you did. That's a part of life, and it just simply means we're on a journey, and that journey doesn't really have a destination. This journey that we are on is called life, and it takes us through many different portals and channels and avenues, and it takes us through many experiences, and each of these experiences change who we are, how we think, and how we perceive everything around us. And so every now and again, we have to come back to the drawing board and we have to say, who am I really? What do I represent? And who do I want to be, right? So this season, we're going to have a whole lot of that, because I really want you guys to understand that you're not alone in your fight to stay in a space where your life is honoring to you, to stay in a space where you feel good about who you are, how you look, what you have, what you do, and those that are around you that you share your life with. All of that should feel good. Is it going to feel good all the time? Of course not. We're having continuous experiences. And again, those experiences shift. And so we shift with them, sometimes by choice and sometimes it feels like by force. And so for that reason, we definitely want to bring you guys a lot of actionable information this season. We want to pull you back into yourself. We want to help you find that powerful center and core, and we want to build that up as much as we possibly can, because this show, Moments of Mindfulness, we are partners with you to live the best possible life you can. Guys, we got to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm M. Rain. I'm the host of Moments of Mindfulness, and I'm here with the beautiful Nashiki Chandler of Thrive Now Wellness. Hi, Nashiki.
Hi, thank you for having me. So I'm Nashiki Chandler of Thrive Now Wellness. You can reach me at thrivenowwellness.com. I am very happy to be here, and I am thankful that we have partnered. My mission is to help people to experience a better feeling life, and her mission is to help people to create a better life. And we have partnered in that mission together, and we have a class in Divinity Academy and courses to help you improve your life.
Absolutely. So if you guys are interested, definitely visit divinityacademy.com. You can also visit Thrive Now Wellness or magicalmystic.com, and we look forward to working with you. Have a great day. Welcome back to Moments of Mindfulness. I'm your host, M. Rain, and if you're just joining us, we're talking about Season 4 and all of the things that's coming into play this season. We're talking about recentering, refinding self, different things like that. So with that being said, let me tell you guys a little bit about what's been going on with me and explain some of the inspiration that's bringing about this new vibe that Season 4 is going to have. So last year, I reunited with someone that I dated a long time ago, 7 years ago, in fact. And I should say that we decided to make it official again. And so when we got married this year, first of all, the whole wedding planning during COVID is a whole process, right? And there's all these considerations. And I can honestly say I'm very excited that we got through the whole wedding with no one getting COVID, even though no one really wore their mask and everybody was dancing and having a good time and hugging on each other and taking 1,000 pictures. But we got through it with no reported incidents of COVID. And I think that was phenomenal, and a lot to say it was 200 and some people in the room. But during the process of wedding planning, it was a lot of times where I found myself unsure of what I wanted. And I know that sounds crazy because for the most part, we've come to accept that there's a lot of times in our life where we don't know what we want. And so it was getting excessive though. You know, it was like, it wasn't as simple as, what are we eating today? Well, I don't know, what do you want? It became, I don't know if I like this color or not. Okay, I did like the color. Now I'm wondering if I should change the colors. I don't know if I like this DJ or not. I don't know if I want this photographer or not. I don't even know if I want that location or not. I don't know if I want this amount of people or not. And in that moment, when we're stuck in indecision, we lose energy. And so I found myself losing energy. And it's funny because during the best time of my life, I found myself dealing with a mild level of depression. And that's something that we're guilted about as people. How can you be depressed when you just got a raise? How can you be depressed when you just got married, when you just had a baby, when you just hit the lottery? It's like, how can you have the best times of your life and still be depressed? It happens, right? It's a part of it. So one of the things that I began to do is go back to the basics from before I ever became M. Rain, when I was just sitting around Lucretia trying to figure out my life, right? One of the things that I learned in study was that emotions have these ups and downs, these highs and these lows, right? And so generally the idea is to keep them balanced, but balance isn't about whether you're high or whether you're low and trying to find a middle. What it is allowing yourself to experience the highs that come and the lows that come without having the kind of emotional upheaval that throws you into some kind of depressed state or manic state, right? So it's not about not having the highs and not having the lows. It's about experiencing them from a space where you stay in power. When I tell you guys that back when I learned that the first time, it was one of the most empowering things that I had ever learned about keeping my own emotions balanced. but to have the ability to come back to it and it to serve me all these years later when I'm trying to plan everything was phenomenal. One of the things that I like to do is share knowledge and information, right? So let me explain to you how you do that. As I was sitting with all of the planning, which dress am I gonna wear? I ended up buying 2 dresses, so I wore them both. You know, because sometimes we think it's this or that, and it can be this and that, and that's perfectly acceptable. So trying to figure out which dress I was gonna wear, trying to figure out which crown I was gonna wear, which shoes, all of these things. When I stopped, I thought about it. I said, this is my day. I want this day to feel amazing. I want to love it. I want to look back on it with pride and happiness. I want to cry the tears just like, you know, you do with everybody else's wedding. And so I had to stop and center myself. This is not about what anybody else is going to think about my wedding, my day, my husband, my family, the colors or anything else. What do you like? And I sat there until I found it inside of myself. What do I like? What do I want to experience? This is the last time I'm ever going to get married. So what is this supposed to feel like for me? And as I sat there with my pen and paper, okay, because y'all know I'm big on journaling. I believe in it. I swear by it, because once you put some things in writing, it changes how things flow and feel in your head. And so sometimes it's just about getting it out on paper. It makes more sense. So I sat there, and as I was writing my fantasies, I realized I was also in a position to make them happen. And so that's what I did. Sometimes it's not about you sacrificing. Sometimes it's about you indulging yourself with love, not with things, but with love, allowance. You're allowed to feel this way. You're allowed to think this way. You're allowed to be afraid. You're allowed to be confident. You are allowed to have emotional experiences, whatever they may look like. And man, I'm telling you, it brought it all back. It was really a highlight for me that I got it before I took sadness into, you know, my nuptials and my honeymoon and all of that. And the honeymoon was some work because we did a family moon. But because I had to have the time to rebalance myself, and I took that, it felt good, every bit of it, right? What I encourage you guys to do is stay in a space where you can stop and ask yourself questions about whatever experience is in front of you. Do you like this? Do you want this? Are you allowed? Of course you are. Are you allowed to change your mind? Absolutely. Do you want to change your mind? Yes. So then you allow yourself to do that and to plan it out. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and be wild and footloose and fancy free, as they used to say. But to make sure your life feels good, you need to take time to acknowledge the things that are in there that you're trying to deny or ignore, which only becomes something of a cancer, right? An emotional baggage or burden for you to bear that takes the joy out of your everyday experiences. I know it's not easy to do it all the time. I'm a person that has to do it every day just like you. It's mindfulness is a way of life, right? Moments of mindfulness is about the show being a moment to be mindful about your life, but mindfulness itself is a lifestyle. And I'm here to share with you that lifestyle is amazing and it will bring you back every single time. Guys, we'll be right back with more, but first we have to have a word from our sponsors.
Be the best you at Magical Mystic in West Monroe. Shop online now with our full line of products, from body butters to fragrances to candles and much more. Shop now at magicalmystic.com.
Welcome back to Moments of Mindfulness. I'm your host, Rain, and we've been talking about recentering yourself, finding yourself again out the madness, you know, because life can get maddening sometimes. And so continuing from the last thought, what I encourage you guys to do is stay in a space where you can be honest with yourself. So having said that, the other thing that happened is I went back to my writing. To some degree, right? So I have a few books that's coming out, the first of which is, of course, this Ancestral Rites of Passage. When I got ready to do this book, I was not in a position to sit and write like I wanted to. So Ancestral Rites of Passage was originally a class that I teach at my school online, Divinity Academy. So doing that class, was tremendous. I loved it. I got a chance to teach people about their ancestors, how to connect, reconnect, and pull in all this joy and all this wealth of knowledge by learning where you come from and what's involved with that. So we all have maybe some shameful things that may rest in our ancestry, but we also all have some powerful things and some beautiful things we can be proud of, things that are empowering just to hear or to learn about. So I did the class, and I was wanting to make a journal from the class because a lot of people did request the journal. There was a lot of writing involved in the class. And so, of course, for me being a person that's always telling people they should journal about stuff, it only made sense that I would have a journal. But having the time was a whole different matter. I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So where do I get the time? And I realized I have a whole staff. I have 14 people who work for me, and some of them, it is their job to do things like this. So 2 of the ladies decided, they actually brought it to me, let us just collect everything that you taught in the class and put it in writing. And then from there, you can maneuver it and do whatever it is that you need to do with it to make it a book or a journal that you will be proud of. And when I say that I am so excited about this book, it hit Amazon about a month ago, and it has been performing exceptionally well. A lot of people are writing in, talking to me about it, and it brought back that love of writing and publishing that I had once before. Now, I've been a publisher now for almost 2 decades. However, it's not the same as it was before. It's kind of business. And so doing this, because I hadn't released a book in like 2 years. I had kind of pulled away from writing because I was always teaching. And so the main thing I write now is study guides or things for me to get through the classes that I'm teaching, different things like that. So I hadn't really written anything for me that made me excited until this book. And when I was going through it, organizing it, and filling in the parts that I needed to fill in, I found my passion again. I say that to say this to you. It is really powerful to revisit your childhood self, your teenage self, your 20-year-old self, your 30-year-old self. In all of these different arenas, you've had different things you wanted to accomplish, you've had different things that made you excited. You've been a different person. You were a different person at 10 than 20, and at 20 than 30, and you might look the same name, yes, but there's differences, and sometimes they're subtle, but going back and rediscovering them is so powerful. All of us have things that we love. All of us have things that give us energy just to participate in, to see it, to watch it, to smell it, to hear it. It's to be involved in some kind of way. It is enlightening, it's uplifting. You can feel yourself shift into a new realm. And so for me, writing is that. Writing, reading, publishing, helping other people, create a legacy for themselves and their family. Beautiful. If you have been a little bit hopeless, a little bit down, there is nothing in the world like going back and revisiting the you once were and discovering what made you dynamic in that space, what made you hopeful, what made you smile, what made you happy. Because when you do that, you will find that same energy is there for you. It's the beautiful thing about a memory. The thing about a memory is it's not only holding information, but it holds the emotions that were connected to that information. And I think that is worth holding on to. Guys, if you do want the book, it is on Amazon, and it's also on my website, magicalmystic.com. We're gonna take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to close.
Try a holistic approach to distressing with Magical Mystic, healing crystals, essential oils, and homemade all-natural body butter, including the world-renowned Feet by M. Take the time for you at Magical Mystic in West Monroe.
Gentlemen, empower yourself with my new fragrance line. An intriguing scent, Empire for Men, is excitement, danger, and daring in a bottle. Empowerment awaits at magicalmystic.com. Ladies, empower yourself with my new fragrance line. Emporium invites richness, royalty, and carefree living, and Empire invites intrigue and danger. Empowerment awaits at magicalmystic.com. Welcome back to Moments of Mindfulness. This has been an amazing show. I'm really excited about season 4. I don't know if you guys can tell it, but it really is a big vibe for me. Again, I feel like I have been in a space where I have a whole lot more to share, and I'm looking forward to doing so. One of the things that I do want to encourage you guys to do as we move forward is to give yourself time every day, because even though we're only on 2 days out the week, Mondays and Fridays, we're here. But every day of the week, give yourself no more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something just for you to take a moment to center yourself, to breathe. Whether you know yoga or not, whether you truly understand meditation or not, it doesn't matter. But to be in a space where you breathe and be present with yourself. Make it a habit of giving yourself one indulgence. It can be a small one, it can be a major one. The indulgence can be something as simple as giving yourself a facial and doing the whole little charcoal mask if you want to. Maybe you've had that thing in there for 2-3 weeks and you hadn't used it yet. You know what? That's going to be my next indulgence. I'm going to do my face, and I'm going to be present with letting myself feel pampered through that process. It can be something as small as a walk, or it could be something as big as a purchase, whatever it may be. But if we don't get in the habit of loving and spoiling ourselves, we're going to be in trouble. One of the things that my husband said to me here recently, he said, I love how you honor yourself and how you honor other people. And even in that moment, I realized I hit it. I felt like a little kid, really. It was like the best compliment ever, because you know what? A lot of us have been applauded for how we love other people. We've been applauded for our sacrifice. We've been applauded for our giving. We've been applauded for our nurturing capabilities and all of that. Rarely do you get the compliment that how you honor yourself, right? Most people wouldn't even consider that a compliment. But in him saying both, they let me know that I had balanced them both, that I was doing for me as I was doing for other people, that I was not bankrupting me as I was taking care of other people. Guys, we have now launched Legacy Builders Academy. I'm very excited about that. When you get a chance, take a moment to go by and check that out. It is thelegacybuildersacademy.com. It is a school that is based solely on business and ways to make money and to enhance your success and different things like that. We're just getting going, so there's like three classes there right now, but we're going, and I'm so excited about that. We're getting ready to launch Dimensions Lounge here in Monroe, Louisiana on Louisville, and that's going to be a tremendous membership club or lounge, you should say, where we're going to be safe, we're going to eat good, we're going to have good music, a lot of fun, a lot of community events. The exact thing I usually look for when I'm traveling everywhere else, I'm putting it right here in Monroe because I can, and you guys deserve it. And furthermore, we also have Divinity Academy. It's been expanded quite a lot, so when you get a chance, go by divinityacademy.com and check that out. And as always, our store site is magicalmystic.com, and you can always see us at 105 Vernon Street, right here in West Monroe, Louisiana. We're always happy for you to come by. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great one.